Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports, Fantasy Football, Lakers Fast Break, Lakers latest, anything that I do out there for you. It is just absolutely a ton of stuff that we cover both in the sports and the pop culture scene. So truly glad to have you here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, State of Pro Wrestling, and more hits right there for you indeed. Plus also as well, if you're listening to us on any of the radio stations worldwide that still play our shows, it is immensely and greatly appreciated. And don't forget also as well that 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend, indeed, my compadre. All these years, we're closing in on the big 10 years. 10 years of Pop Culture Cosmos coming in a couple of weeks, which we'll celebrate then. But for now, we got to give you the latest news and info. And there's a ton that we need to talk about. But of course, he is the man indeed. Go ahead and check him out today at the Plucky Gamer, the Happy Hoarder, Humanity Media, and more. It is my good friend. It is Josh the Great Peterson. What's up, man?
What is going on? How's things, man? How you doing?
Great. Absolutely. Just a great weekend. Well, it's hot. That part out of it, man. 119 in Vegas heat this past weekend. Yeah, that's not what I liked, but the hot part of it was obviously with the records that fell at the box office. So definitely looking forward to talking about that, my friend. And I know you've got a date with Spider-Man coming up soon. Are you excited to go ahead and see what's going to happen with a brand new day for Spider-Man?
Yeah, I think so. I'm want to get ahead of the hype, you know.
Absolutely, indeed. So we'll get into it. Plus, we'll also talk about Halo campaign evolved. How is it resonating 25 years later? We'll go ahead and discuss that as well. And the future of the Halo franchise. Want to go ahead and really get some quick thoughts from Josh on that. Something we've delved with before, but want to go ahead and touch on again. And then also as well, Netflix. Want to go ahead and discuss some observations on Netflix myself and other people analysts are having in regards to Netflix. And is the bubble finally beginning to, just show some signs that it might be thinking about bursting? So we'll go ahead and talk about that here coming up later on the show. And if we have time, another MCU review for you, because I think we're getting into it, getting closer and closer to Avengers Doomsday. But with that said, speaking of Marvel, Josh, a record-breaking weekend at the box office as the combo of Spider-Man Brand New Day and also as well the Odyssey here domestically in North America, a record over $430 million, along with the other movies as well, Toy Story 5 and what have you. But mainly those two led a surge in the box office this weekend to $430 million worldwide. At the North American box office. Worldwide, though, Spider-Man, $927 million estimated as of this recording. It might actually end up being higher. It might actually end up beating by itself the domestic take in its first weekend of Avengers Endgame at $357 million, because right now it's estimated at $355. So it only has to do it just a little bit higher when the actual results come through. Your thoughts on this amazing weekend for Spider-Man Brand New Day? Again, $927 million worldwide. To give you an idea, the Odyssey, which is also going to end up probably being number 2 worldwide at the box office here before all is said and done, that's at $911 million. Man, what a great time to go to the movies.
Oh no, that was impressive, man. This because of the Chinese IMAX, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's again 911 before it goes to Chinese IMAX in China. So it will reach $1 billion before it gets to that. And remember, though, Josh, with Spider-Man Brand New Day, IMAX theaters, it doesn't debut on IMAX theaters until August 6th. So this week, it will finally debut on IMAX theater as the exclusivity for The Odyssey ends. So that's even more revenue on the way for Spider-Man Brand New Day. But the big, big weekend for Spider-Man Brand New Day, a huge weekend. Only Avengers Endgame has done more in a single weekend worldwide than Spider-Man Brand New Day.
You know, it's weird because I remember watching Avengers Endgame, but I don't remember following the box office numbers at that time. So like yesterday when I looked, I was like, oh, I'm curious how well Spider-Man's doing in the box office, and I was shocked to see that it was this close to $1 billion after like all year we've been talking about what movies are going to cross $1 billion, and a lot of these like Super Mario Galaxy, Michael, Toy Story to some extent, they were slow drags, right? But like this is like 2 days, 3 days worth of numbers here is impressive.
Technically, you also have to put in the Thursday previews, Josh. That first the North American, it did get for a Friday showing for Friday as far as the first official day of release of Friday. But then again, the Thursday previews and any other previews beforehand during that week, they also throw into the Friday numbers. So it did, in essence, have the biggest first day in North American history as well.
Yeah, that's still crazy, man. Just to like open up the old box office mojo and see that. I was shocked, man, but that's awesome.
Absolutely, indeed, a big win for Spider-Man. But let me ask you this: your deeper thoughts before you're going to go ahead and check out the movie. I have, so I'll share my thoughts on in generalities. I won't give anybody any spoilers. Don't worry. But your thoughts on why Spider-Man Brand New Day reached this type of audience, why Spider-Man seems to be the Teflon as far as superhero fatigue is concerned. Because I noted that in my review on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, where I put it in the MCU rankings, that with all the failures and with all the underwhelming lack of success for both DC and Marvel this decade in the world of superhero, the word superhero fatigue seemed to really coincide with it. But that doesn't seem to be the case, obviously, with Spider-Man Brand New Day. What is the appeal and the approach of Spider-Man compared to what we see with every other failed, outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, every other failed attempt at trying to keep that train going from Avengers Endgame?
Well, it's Spider-Man. I mean, this is the everyman's hero. Like this is the one that everybody relates to, and plus, like people love Tom Holland. I mean, my wife was saying that yesterday. People love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and like he's not like I prefer like Andrew Garfield's my favorite. We talked about that, but like Tom Holland's a good Spider-Man. He's a good Spider-Man, and this is like the way the last Spider-Man movie ended. Like it was such a human moment for him to like experience loneliness like that, and to me personally just made me want to see more of it. And I think that's no matter how much Marvel drops the ball on things, I mean, Spider-Man is always a property that's going to make a ton of money.
And that's interesting to see what it will continue to do, how far this success of this movie will go. Like I said, I did actually get a chance to see the film, Josh, and I was I'm pleasantly surprised by it. It's not my favorite Spider-Man, Josh, but it is a good enough Spider-Man that I think carries things forward in a lot of different avenues, not for only for the Spider-Man character, but for other characters as well. And without going into any spoilers, I did have, again, already set on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com in my MCU ranking where it's at. It's, again, a solid film, and I'm really encouraged by what it will do going forward. But with the success of Spider-Man Brand New Day, it looks like that will come at the cost of maybe Avengers Doomsday later on. What happens if Avengers Doomsday does not reach the heights that have now just been set this year by Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't. Like, it's, Spider-Man's one of those stories that you could always go back to, right? I mean, and he hasn't really been intertwined too much in the greater MCU outside of his last outing, with the what was that, Can Never Go Home or whatever it was called, but it's
Spider-Man No Way Home, you mean?
No Way Home. Yeah, No Way Home. It's a Spider-Man's just it's an easy property to get into, and then with Avengers, you have to keep, like, people feel now at this point that they have to watch all the things to keep up with what's going on in the greater Avenger universe. So I think that that's really its boon, as Marvel has just overproduced everything, and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm not going to go see this." So I go back and rewatch all this stuff. It's a lot more confusing. You watch a Spider-Man movie and it's pretty straightforward, but you watch some of these Avenger movies and there's like 20 other pieces you need to put together.
And that's the only thing I could say. Craig says, like the previous Endgame actors, main actor Tom Holland is the last of actors people like. I think, Tom Holland as an actor, Josh, I think he gets I don't want to say he gets a bum rap. I know that he is not the most well respected as far as his acting is concerned. I know that people talked about his acting, comparatively speaking, to the others in the Odyssey. When you go see the Odyssey, you'll understand what I mean there. But I thought he was okay in the Odyssey, in an absolutely fantastic film. And with that said, Josh, I think he is an approachable, likable Peter Parker. I think, whatever you want to say about his Nathan Drake and his other characters, which not really have resonated with the audiences out there, Josh. I really think Peter Parker is a solid, approachable, adaptable, and easy to like by the audience Peter Parker, which I think, that shows humility, that shows as far as the ability to fail. And it really comes across. The one thing he can communicate to the audience is that, yes, he falls down continuously, but he always has a tendency and tenacity to get back up, Josh.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think he was terrible in Uncharted. I didn't think he was terrible, and I think there's one other thing I saw him in, but I can't remember it. But no, I mean, I don't think he's a bad actor. I think that he's been Spider-Man for so long that people have a hard time seeing him outside of being Spider-Man.
He's a very likable Spider-Man, in my opinion. I think he's a very, and that's what I think, continues to resonate at 10 years in on this character. Craig said Zendaya is also like, well, absolutely. Zendaya, though his wife in real life is more lauded. She is always thought of, as far as of the two, much more
more unique acting under her belt.
Yes, if you watch her Euphoria days, especially seasons 1 and 2, as far as how good she is as an actress. See her in Dune. As far as the job she did there, she's been fantastic in the Dune 1 and 2 movies so far. She has a career which seemingly just has resonated better as far as from a critical standpoint than Tom Holland. But Tom Holland, to the average consumer, seems to be very approachable in the way he brings everything to the screen as far as his performance is concerned. And again, he's not bad in the Odyssey at all. It's just sometimes when he gets into these ensembles where there's really high level actors that he is working with, you can see where it's just maybe that's something that he still needs to elevate himself to when he's working with other individuals. But when he's by himself in Spider-Man, he's able to really portray that flawed superhero that we've come to know in Spider-Man.
Yeah. And you saw the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but a lot. I was reading something where they saying it was like a really good commentary on like loneliness. And I'm like, yeah, that's. I mean, that's people. A lot of people don't see that that's actually like a pretty big. I don't know if you call it an epidemic, but like there's a lot of people who experience that, but like don't ever talk about it. So I mean, I think that's a good subject to tackle there.
And with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, what we see in more studies where they're more apt to be um, alone and not seek relationships and things of like that, or as many friendships as, let's say, your generation or my generation has,
Yeah.
and older generations. It is something that maybe is a dynamic that they're trying to present as well, but that is a part of what we see in Spider-Man Brand New Day, plus again a bevy of characters, and as far as that are introduced or brought back into the fold in this latest film. And that's the only part of it with Daniel Cretton, as far as it's concerned. His approach to this, he had a very tall task, Josh. He had a
Yeah.
very tall task as far as trying to integrate everything, with the mystery characters I cannot say that are in there, with the characters that make cameos that I cannot say in there because they're spoilers, but with the characters that you've seen in the trailers, Damage Control, which they've already talked about yeah, publicly, as far as their influence into all this, the Hand, which you've seen as far as the ninja group that really resonates on screen,
Mhm.
and the many other characters, Hulk, that you already know that's in there from the trailers, that's in there, and the Punisher, and then just so many characters, so many things are being thrown into this, Josh. That's the only thing. Not everything gets a clean tied up, but again, I think he does a great job, a really, really strong job of trying to build so many things, have this storyline with Spider-Man that he is able to connect with, try to still bring all these characters back in, plus the ones that are familiar to from the previous Spider-Man movies. And then
Yeah.
also, as well, there's a new storyline that is going to be branching off. That's an important part of the future that has to be told as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. You know what Spider-Man movies sorry. What Spider-Man movies have suffered from in the past is like having too many narrative strings unwound at the same time and not doing a great job of balancing or winding those strings back up. And that's but it sounds like from what you're saying that they did an okay job of doing that this time.
Yeah, the director gets a lot of credit, in my opinion, for being able to handle a lot on this plate. And again, it is not perfect as far as every single the character and the way they're treated from point A to point Z, even if they're there for just a short period of time or there for a longer period of time. With that said, though, again, you only have so many minutes to be able to fill it up with the ability to develop the story and develop your characters. And at some point in time, you have to make decisions. And like I said, for the most part, as far as Destin Daniel Cretton, who we know from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, he is done, and Wonder Man, although rest in peace, Wonder Man, which got canceled last week
Yeah, do we
after
ever know did they ever say why that happened? I know that was like a I thought that show did
was
pretty well.
it was renewed initially for a second season, as they commented on, as far as that's concerned. There was contracts already signed, production schedules set aside already, and it was already well into production before it got canceled by Disney. But Disney did not indicate why, of course, that they did what they did last week with it. But again, with this movie and Spider-Man Brand New Day, Destin Daniel Cretton should get a lot of credit for being able to juggle a lot with that. And I do want to go ahead and get Craig's question in there. Do they have a good villain in this one? It's a different type of villain, but it's often a villain that you can best express because it's a villain that will be able to go ahead and resonate going forward. And what they do with this villain, as far as the main villain, so to speak, they develop this villain in a way that I think is really going to set the bar for the future going forward. So yes, one of the thing Destin Daniel Cretton does is set up this villain for the future. And I think that's probably one of the best things about this movie is what it sets up for the future, not just for Spider-Man's character, but for that particular villainous character as well.
So this is a possibly a Marvel phase, whatever they're on, villain coming up next.
Absolutely, indeed.
Or a Secret Wars villain, maybe.
Yeah, you could say it's a Secret Wars. And I don't want to say necessarily a villain. We'll see what happens because a lot of the commentary has come out of this movie as far as Spider-Man himself being a villain, and you ask yourself how that could happen. Just watch the movie and you can understand that maybe that even though it probably won't be the case because it wouldn't be financially good for Sony, but it just, like you talked about with the loneliness aspect, that comes into key as far as that's concerned, Josh. And I think you're hitting the tones right there and what it creates out of all of us. And I think that when you see this movie, you'll understand more about the psychological effects of that type of deal. And NHF Koopa says, let's just say it's not the par for the course run as other Spideys. Yes, that's absolutely correct. It is not the standard A, B, C type of movie for Spider-Man. It's not that type of run, Josh. It is something that is presented in a little bit different fashion. It starts out like thinking like it's going to be a typical connect the dots Spider-Man, but it does something different, and I think that's why it resonates with a lot of people and why it's as good as I have it as far as on my list for the MCU.
Okay, all right. Would you say where would you rank it amongst the other Spider-Man movies? Like if you had to put like a 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever.
Well, I have my daughters. One is my Marvel expert, and the other is my Spider-Man expert. So I have a Spider-Man super fan and a Marvel super fan that both wanted to know that. And I put it, if you go ahead on my site, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, where I have it on the list. I won't say where it is on the list, but I would say it is in the top 3 of Spider-Man movies. I won't say where in the universe for Spider-Man just yet. I think I want to let you watch it, but I put it in the top 3 for Spider-Man movies. So I'll just leave it at that. You can actually see where the ranking is, where it sits on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com under Gerald's Guide to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's in my top 3. It is it's a definite recommend as far as that's concerned.
Okay. Oh.
I think you'll like it. I think you'll enjoy your time. I think you're enjoying it.
Okay. All right, I'm excited to watch it.
And the only thing I wanted to add in as far as is concerned on my general thoughts is, I was worried that with the runtime that it would run a little bit too long. Would you have enough material for as far as being able to space it on out? I think the first half you could have shaved a couple things off the first half, but there's a certain point in time where you think the movie's over, and there's another segment as far as it's concerned that needed to be added in to tell a bigger and wider story. Yeah. And I think it does a good job in doing that. I think it could, yes, absolutely. Yes. No small potato indeed, Koopas. Absolutely indeed, Jamie. So, yes, absolutely indeed. No small potatoes indeed. But it tells a small potato story and a big potato story. And I think it does the job pretty darn good.
All right. Need a good movie about potatoes.
Craig says you need more sleep or oxygen. He's actually going to go ahead after we're off the air today and check it out immediately as far as Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yes.
And I hope you do out there, everyone, because it does get a solid recommendation from me. If you have thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day, please put it in the comments below or let us know, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But before we get to the half-hour break, Josh, I wanted to continue to go ahead and heap praise on the Odyssey. Again, It is part of the biggest weekend ever overall for North America at $430 million here domestically. And again, worldwide, it'll be one of the biggest openings ever as far as just for not biggest openings, excuse me, biggest weekends ever for the movie industry as well, because of what happened with 927 million um, for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and an extra probably close to 100 million still for the Odyssey. Just a fantastic showing for movies. You and I were worried coming into this year about, will still people go and see movies? Will Gen Alpha, will Gen Z still continue to go ahead to the movie theaters? And I'm glad that in the past 3 weeks, our faith has been reaffirmed as far as that people are, if you make it the right event, if you make it the right movie, if you make it the right film experience for them, they will come, they will see it.
Right, right. Yeah, you know what's cool is that it's possible that within a week we could have 5 movies over $1 billion.
Indeed, we will have that as far as 2 extra movies by the end of this week. In fact, probably by the end of Tuesday, you'll have at least Spider-Man Brand New Day over $1 billion, and then you'll probably have, just maybe later this week, you'll have the Odyssey, which actually, Josh, get this, for one day, Josh, for one day, as of coming out of this weekend, the Odyssey may end up being the biggest movie of the year, but it looks like it'll be easily overtaken by Spider-Man Brand New Day as far as that's concerned. So, with that said, whether it does or not, it's still a great run for the Odyssey. Craig said the theater's still very crowded in my area to see Odyssey. Again, like I mentioned last week, I was going to go ahead and see the 70 millimeter IMAX. But the projector, we were told in advance, was broken, so they gave us a free screening in digital. It is such a great film, Josh. I am still willing to spend, and I did spend for later this month, the return 70 millimeter IMAX later this month for the Odyssey. So I am going to go ahead and see it in its original intended form. So I feel very encouraged by what we're seeing with the movie theaters right now, Josh.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I mean, if Spider-Man made almost $1 billion in its opening weekend, like it's possible we could see this thing cross 2 billion at some point.
Yeah, that's a very good possibility. Remember, Josh, the last movie, Spider-Man, as far as the last Spider-Man that was out in theaters, made just almost 1.9 billion dollars. I could see this having, if it has any kind of legs, the ability to go over $2 billion, which would be a great thing indeed. And yet, it's already in China, as far as the fact that it's still out now in China, I believe. Remember, the Odyssey doesn't come to China. We talked about for another 2 weeks, and then still across Asia as well. But again, great signs. Spider-Man Brand New Day breaking box office records. If you want to see it in IMAX, you'll be able to see Spider-Man Brand New Day as of the 6th of August. Just to let everyone know, the exclusive window for the Odyssey is over on the 6th. But again, you'll be able to see the Odyssey or Spider-Man Brand New Day in that format if you so choose, which again, Josh, for August should ensure some type of long-term success for both those films.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, we're still in summer. Most of the kids out here don't go back to school for a couple weeks, so I mean, there's gonna be opportunity to get those numbers.
Absolutely, indeed. But it's just been an incredible run for Spider-Man. I did want to go ahead and say again, I don't think that there's going to be any doubt by the end of tomorrow who is the going to be, or which film is going to be the number one movie overall for at least this year, until Avengers Doomsday comes out, and we'll at least give that a fighting chance to go ahead and compete with Spider-Man Brand New Day. But Spider-Man Brand New Day is looking like it's going to reach $1 billion by the end of tomorrow worldwide, and be able to go ahead and possibly reach $2 billion, which would be a great achievement indeed. But just a great thing that we're seeing as far as the box office is concerned. Craig says supposed to go another month in IMAX. Yes, in fact, yes, the Odyssey was extended to, I believe, mid-September in regards to that. In fact, my 70 millimeter IMAX is showing that I got tickets for, because the availability of tickets here in Las Vegas for that format is still so crowded that I couldn't get it until late this month. So we'll wait and see as far as the continued support for the Odyssey and the continued support for Spider-Man Brand New Day. But together they have combined for the biggest weekend ever in North America, and also as well one of the biggest openings worldwide for a movie for Spider-Man Brand New Day. If you have thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com, or list it in the comments below indeed. But man, as far as I'm concerned, so Koopa says Telemachus looks so familiar, like a friendly neighbor. Yeah, absolutely, Telemachus does. Like a friendly neighborhood smile. So does Athena. Athena looks like likes a certain MJ I know as well. And John Bernthal, the Punisher, seems to have a familiarity. I've seen a lot of John Bernthal, Josh. I've seen a lot of Tom Holland, and I've seen a lot of Zendaya in the past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're didn't we talked about this, right, with Zendaya, people saying she should step back, but I mean, she's done a lot of bangers, man. I mean, I keep striking while the iron's hot.
Well, she is stepping back after Dune Part 3. But anybody who if they're getting good roles and good opportunities in Hollywood, I disagree with that mindset. I know that we've talked about that with Pedro Pascal and whatnot. If you're getting good opportunities to be a part of good projects like this, you never know in Hollywood when it's going to run out, and when there's another individual that they feel is going to pop in because they're more available and whatnot. But she said she is going to take time off after Dune Part 3, Josh. That's obviously up to her. She's done a great job this year as far as what she's brought out. Obviously, it's brought a lot of good performances, a lot of money. But again, I don't think we should ever decide to say, as a group, oh well, you've been on screen too much. You should
I agree.
again. It's like, okay, because at some point in time that the musical chairs of good offers, Josh, that will stop for her, like it stops for every actor that I've ever seen in Hollywood. It just depends how long can you keep that running. Like Tom Cruise is in his 60s and he's still able to get and command top roles, but we know at some point it's going to run out for Tom Cruise. It does for everyone, and more power to Zendaya for being able to go ahead and still have those performances.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's not like she's gonna be short on money ever, because like these movies have all been, most of them have been pretty massive. So I mean, even if she did choose to retire, she'd probably be pretty well off for the rest of her life.
You're right. You're right, Jamie. It is 5. If you're talking about as far as the HBO Max series, Euphoria as well. It is 4 movies, and also as well Euphoria as well. So that makes it 5. So yeah, absolutely. Craig says, do you think Tom Holland will now be the all-time moneymaker for Marvel series? Robert Downey Jr. made what, $60 or $70 million of film. At some point in time, yes. If they want to keep, if Sony and Marvel, Josh, want to keep him in that slot, because you see what happens. You appreciate Andrew Garfield. A lot of people do, but he was not able to, for various reasons, generate the kind of money for Sony for Spider-Man. That's why they moved on to Peter Parker. At some point in time, if you want him in your Marvel flick, you're going to have to pay a lot of cash going forward.
Isn't he trying to get out of the role though? Hasn't he made like several comments about not wanting to play Spider-Man anymore?
Yes, he has, especially in recent days, in interviews, and there is the belief that the next Spider-Man will probably be evolving out of a Miles Morales character. But the thing is, if you're Sony and you're Marvel and you're Kevin Feige, or you're Amy Pascal out of Sony or Marvel out with Kevin Feige, it is financially your responsibility to try and see if you can woo Tom Holland for as long as you can to keep him in that spider suit.
Yeah, well, so I mean, I imagine it's sort of like Daniel Craig in the 007 role, right? Like he wanted to leave that role multiple times, and finally they're like, all right, well, if we're gonna do this, let's make a story that justifies it. And like I thought the last 007 movies was great, right? Like they never they'd never, spoilers for a movie that's several years old now, but they had never like killed off a 007 in 007 before. So I mean, that makes me wonder if they're gonna go, maybe they'll either do something similar with Tom Holland if he really wants to leave, or they'll just like let him have a break and bring him back in like 10 years for Spider-Man One More Day, like that would be cool too.
He said also among the latest comments, Jamie said that he said I'll stay as long as they will let me. And then, but I've also heard
Yeah,
again the facts that he'd love to turn it over to a different character as well. And
yeah, it's been mixed.
I think he's afraid, Josh, of people turning on him. I think he's afraid of audiences turning on him if he overstays his welcome, and I can't say I blame him there. Jamie says he'll take it for less, and believe me, I will give them the cut rate deal if they don't want to pay him $100 million. Absolutely, indeed. Maybe a live action Into the Spider-Verse. Maybe they will integrate that as far as the Sony, but again, I do know their long-term plans, according to several reports, eventually is to turn it over to a Miles Morales character whenever Tom Holland decides he wants to hang up the spider suit. So we will wait and see. But Josh, just a great performance this weekend by Spider-Man Brand New Day as it breaks and approaches records only seen by Avengers Endgame. So we will see how it continues to play itself out from there. But if you guys have comments on Spider-Man Brand New Day, please let us know in the comments below or at popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But my friend, there's still a little bit more to go here on today's episode. Once again, it's Josh the Great Peterson from Humanica Media, also as well the Plucky Gamer, also as well the Happy Hoarder, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate it. Josh, I wanted to ask about your thoughts about Halo Campaign Evolved. It got released into the wild last week. It is now available on Games Pass, of course, Xbox Series X and all that, but also PlayStation 5. Its first, official foray as far as an entity into the Halo universe for PlayStation. It comes up at a pivotal point in the series. Your thoughts on Halo Campaign Evolved? It is a nice, shinier version of what we know and love. It added 3 new missions into it. And then also, as well, wanted to go ahead and say it still has a lot of the interesting features that I played through 25 years ago that maybe may not resonate with younger audiences. But this is a key thing. How will it be able to, I guess, continue to excite audiences with Halo going forward from what we see with Halo Campaign Evolved?
I don't know, man. I'm on the fence. Like I got it and I played it, and I didn't finish. I haven't finished it yet, but like it's funny is like on a side note, I got real excited. I'm like, oh yeah, I could play these games with my kids. We hadn't been able to play the 4-player co-op before, so we were gonna do that. But then only one of my kids wanted to play, so we did the split screen on a 70-inch television, and I'm sitting there thinking like, oh man, I can hardly even see what I'm doing on this thing because I'm so far back from the TV. But I will say like the original Halo, what made it so great, like to me, and I'll die on this hill, man, is like the story for Halo, the lore that was built in that original trilogy is like second to none, as far as like video game storytelling goes, in my opinion. I know people disagree, and that's fine, but that's what made those games so interesting. And especially like when they went back and they did the anniversary, right? And or even the stuff they added into the Master Chief collection, where you can go and trigger the Sentinels, right? And it takes you through like back in time. You can see what was going on with like Guilty Spark and the Forerunners and all that. Like that was really cool. And that was like they left you little Easter eggs to play along the campaign trail. And to me, the big issue with the newer Halos is that you weren't like getting lore crumbs as you were walking, going through the levels. The problem was you're going into these big spaces, and then, oh hey, it was like Gears of War, right? Where like you knew when there's like cover, or Mass Effect, right? When there's cover, strategic cover place, you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to fight waves and waves of bad guys here for several minutes before I get to move on. That's the issue with Halo right now, right? And then and this is something that they turn to in abundance in those opening 3 levels of the new Halo game, right? When they're giving you those things with Sergeant Johnson. So these are like the pre Fall of Reach I guess narrative here, when you're going to a Covenant ship with Sergeant Johnson and you're kind of running through the whole thing, and you just end up in these areas and having to fight waves and waves. There's not really any explanation for why you're there, what you're looking for. Like it's there are 3 new levels, but there's just like, why are they there? There's not really a lot of story to them. You're just kind of playing them, and like that was really disappointing to me. The campaign itself though looks beautiful. Like it's a really, really like gorgeous game, as Tony said. But or Jamie, yeah, sorry. But yeah, Jamie, sorry, man, Jamie. But yeah, it's a very, very pretty game, man, and like I think it looks great, and I hope that they do a Halo 2 remake. Like I said, I've gotten up to about Guilty Spark, but yeah, it's been good, man.
So again, I'm going to be able to start to get into it here this week, so I'm looking forward to that. But again, the question is Halo itself, Josh, as we lead into a new generation of gaming. It does have a lot of tropes that both you and I don't mind from what we played 25 years ago, but to modern gamers, it might be approached into a little bit of an antique style that they may not be able to resonate with. But it is important that Halo campaign evolved, especially being introduced on the PlayStation 5, which is something I think you and I would have said hell would freeze over, even 10 years ago, this happening. Yeah. But with that said, it needs to resonate with a new audience. It needs to resonate with a younger audience because, again, the future of the Halo IP, I think, depends a lot on how audiences receive this latest Halo product.
Yeah, well, the problem is, man, like they, and this might be something that's a little bit harder to undo, is the fact that they have messed up the story so bad, it's become so convoluted and with just doesn't make sense in the greater like timeline of things, that is where they're going to struggle. And I think that because they're like, oh, hey, how do we pull ourselves out of this mess? Well, let's just remake the older game. So I mean, I don't, you can only do that for so long before you have to go back and tackle the big problem is what's happening with Halo, right? What's happening with the story. And until they do that, it's going to be really hard to tell whether or not a new generation of kids is going to be able to what do you call it? The new generation of kids is going to be able to resonate with this property for the next 20 years.
Absolutely. So I think there are some big concerns, Josh.
Jamie, let me just say, man, like it is you really appreciate like how good your eyes are when you're younger, right? And you can sit there and play on the tiniest TV screen and everything looks so clear. You're like, oh, this is so cool. But then as you're like as an adult, in your 30s and 40s or whatever, and even you have to be at least 6 feet in front of the TV to really like see everything really well. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Jamie says, I was hoping that this would usher back split screen, but Josh made me lose hope on that. And then that they need to use the multiverse excuse. It seems to be working elsewhere. CRTs just blinded us. Again, all of us, again, are so used to the CRT screens from many years ago, Josh, when we play this in the LAN parts. That's that's a disappointing thing, is that they did not incorporate the multiplayer into a more modern format, because again, so many people have those stories about the LAN parties with what happened with the original Xbox, the OG Xbox, and the Duke controller and all that, and they decided to go ahead and shelve the multiplayer part of it, and I think that was a missed opportunity by Halo Studios.
Yeah, but I think a part of me is wondering if they're shelving it because they're trying to like put their resources in a place where they can work on, because from what I understand, they are working on a new Halo game, like Halo 7 or whatever it's going to be called, and they're probably like, this is just like, all right, well, that's going to take so many years to do this, so let's keep putting these remakes out, but it's going to take even longer to put the remakes out if we add the multiplayer in there, and if they want multiplayer, they just go play Master Chief Collection. So I understand it. I do.
So with that said, Josh, as far as the future of the Halo universe. I don't think it'll ever reach the heights that it once did, Josh. But again, for Xbox, it has to be a cornerstone going forward if Xbox intends to survive as its own platform. I think it does have to have something that resonates going forward. Do you see this latest Halo? Because I think they will, like you said, they are developing, and will give another shot with Halo. What is it, 7 or whatever they're going to call it at this point in time, upcoming. I do think
Yeah.
they'll give it another shot with Halo, but the problem is, is it going to resonate with fans that will take the future of gaming going forward?
Yeah, I mean that's the big question here, and I think that that's part of the strategy of putting out remakes of the old games is that they're hoping that younger generations of kids will be like, oh hey, I want to play this, but also younger generations of kids aren't playing games that you have to pay for. So I mean, that's also an issue, and I think that's a bigger issue than worrying about whether or not kids are going to be playing Halo 7.
We'll find out indeed, but if you have thoughts on Halo Campaign Evolved, as it's now available both again on Xbox, PC, and I never thought I would really say this, but I'm going to say this, PlayStation 5. So yes, Master Chief can now be found on PlayStation 5. Please let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Koopa says, but how long can they use the MCC Master Chief Collection as their multiplayer crutch? It is, that's a good question, because it is, what, 10 years old? I think the Master Chief Collection. It's been
Yeah.
out for a while. So
It has been out for a while, and like personally, like I think the multiplayer on Halo Infinite is just like smooth as butter in all aspects, and you go back and play the MCC multiplayer, and it's hard, man. It's a different. The control schemes are different. The everything plays so much different, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I just hope that whatever comes next, that they put out a multiplayer experience that like is a mixture of what's great about both the old games and the new ones, and put Hang 'em High in there, man. Don't make a multiplayer game without Hang 'em High.
yes, absolutely, indeed. But you're right, Jamie. Game Pass is, I don't think it is a priority, or as much as priority for Asha Sharma as it once was for Phil Spencer and the previous regime. I think at this point, Game Pass, I think, is something that I don't know if it helped or hurt, but a lot of people are now saying more like that it hurt the actual Xbox, I guess, experience going forward. So again, I just don't think it was approached right. I don't think it was marketed correctly. I think there was a really novel idea and a great way to go ahead and just introduce that, or showcase that to gamers, that really fell flat because of the improper way it was handled and the price changes and all that. So I really think that, again, Xbox had its opportunity to be a big player in this industry, and it chose not to be due to bad decision making for several years. Not just one, not just two, but man, we're talking over a decade's worth of bad decision making finally catching up to Xbox, and now they're trying to swim their way out of it, Josh.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, is it too little too late, or what's going to happen here? But at least they've recognized the issue at this point, and Sony has equally angered people with the no physical release thing, and then they're like, oh, but don't worry, we'll put out cases with codes in them, guys, for you. Not what people wanted, but anyways, I think both companies are having issues right now, so I mean, we'll just sit back and see who can pull themselves out of the slime first.
Absolutely, indeed. But if you have thoughts on Halo Campaign Evolved and the future of Halo, please let us know in the comments below or at popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Koopa says, I just don't see the chatter of going back to an Xbox Live service either, though. Yeah, they've been put between a rock and a hard place, and we'll see if they can get themselves out of it. If Helix will be the key to that success, if they do bring it out ultimately going forward, indeed. Koopa says, a new Xbox supposed to be a PC in my living room, need new air. Again, they need something to brighten things up. I still think that they can come out next generation because of hostility over with the Sony's decision, which they actually reinforced last week in regards to PlayStation becoming an all digital future. That really, again, Xbox could capitalize on that and regain some of its market share in the next generation, but we will have to wait and see. But before we head on out, my friend, I did want to mention thoughts on Netflix because something I've been observing, and a lot of other people have been observing, is that these season twos and season threes, the latest Netflix numbers of this in this calendar year, Josh, have not been quite the same. The impression, the resonating with audiences for a season two and season three just have not been there. For HBO Max and shows like The Pit, it has been. It's been a great undertaking, but with like for instance One Piece and for instance other shows as well that have come out for their season twos and season threes, it's just not seem to be resonating with audiences. The numbers are down across the board. I can tell you for me, I since One Piece, I think that's the only thing outside of Stranger Things I saw this year. So for Netflix audiences, they don't report their numbers as far as their subscriber base conveniently enough, as much as they used to, or they're posting their numbers as much as or frequently as they did before in the past. I don't think that's by coincidence, Josh. I think there are some real concerns with retaining the Netflix audience. Is that bubble beginning to look like it may pop for Netflix?
I mean, honestly, I feel like it's probably headed that way for a lot of these streaming companies. But yeah, I mean, Netflix is it seems like it was bound to happen at some point, right? Like they were putting all this money into all these things, and we have no idea how well they're doing, and sometimes you'll see things go on for several seasons and then they'll just disappear or whatnot. But yeah, man, I think we might be coming close to that time.
I haven't seen all of it yet, Craig. As far as I haven't caught up on all the episodes for this season for House of Dragons, I have seen season one and most of season two. Josh, are you caught up on House of Dragons as far as is concerned?
No, I've seen season one, half of season two. I fell off of it, and I keep meaning to go back because I'm hearing that this new season is like phenomenal. So I just haven't. I need to do it.
Yes, it has received great acclaim, and they're able to go ahead. The consistency of when these shows come out, these season to seasons coming out, and Craig also cited the Netflix price going up as a key factor as well. These shows, like for instance, for me with Severance, if it comes out for season three, next year, it'll be again years, multiple years between seasons, and that's never a good thing in retaining audiences. And they're not learning their lessons as far as is concerned from what we're seeing with shows like The Pit that continuously churn out seasons as opposed and House of the Dragons that continually churn out seasons within a reasonable amount of time, as opposed to some of these Netflix shows that go years, or Apple TV shows that go years without producing a new season. So with that said, I like, for me, one of the shows I'm looking forward to later this year from Netflix is Three Body Problem, which is scheduled to come out later this
Yes.
year.
When I keep Googling it like once a month and it never tells us when it's coming out.
It just says 2026 on the marquee, and that's the problem, Josh. But when it finally comes out, will it come to even close to approaching the original season one run? So I don't think it will, based off of what I'm seeing from all these other shows that took so long. Even Stranger Things did not perform in its final season to the same altitude that the height of the series is concerned. So with that said, I do think the Netflix bubble is starting to quiver a little bit, and I do think there are signs of shakiness going forward in the streaming industry for these shows that have been the backbone for so long. Problem is, if they're continuously going to take a long time in building these seasons, you're going to lose a portion of your audience.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And Netflix is I mean, Netflix doesn't really they've never really seemed to care about the fans that much. They have it's more of like, hey, you'll get this next thing when you get it, and the show, they won't tell us like how a show is performing, because it's just like the communication between Netflix and the audience slash fans is has never been great, and that's probably something they need to work on, because it might help them keep subscribers.
Absolutely, indeed. So, what are your thoughts out there on the future for Netflix? Again, I haven't seen much on Netflix. So I've not needed to go and have appointment viewing or appointment binging with Netflix like I have in years past. And I think that is a problem indeed for them, because I don't think I'm alone in that status. And I think there's a lot more people that are doing the same thing as well. And if that's the case, our Netflix viewing is down. Do we still even need the channel? And I think people are making that decision as well with the higher prices that Craig mentioned. So if you have thoughts on Netflix, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Before we head on out, my friend, a little quick MCU review on the weekend of Spider-Man Brand New Day and its record-breaking success. Where are we at in the realm of the MCU on our
Oh my
MCU
gosh,
review?
hold on, man. Let me get.
Were
I
we
don't
on
remember what.
the X-Men or Deadpool? I think, was it Deadpool? No, actually something after Deadpool. I think it was as far as it's concerned. I think we headed out as far as
Captain
beyond
America's. X-Men. We did Civil War,
Civil
right?
War. We did Civil War, yes.
Okay, so we're on X-Men Apocalypse. Yeah, I did what I loved about like First Class and even Days of Future Past to some extent was that they were a little more grounded, right? And then
Mhm.
you have X-Men Apocalypse comes along, and it just was not a good movie. Like, there was not
I was
really
gonna say that. I was gonna say
anything about it.
next.
Yeah, well, it's like we went from these like more grounded X-Men movies to this like, yeah, we need to keep up. We need a Thanos in this X-Men universe, and this was just a role that was so far beneath Oscar Isaac that I really wish that he did not do it.
Yes, but Marvel did approach him again at a later point in time, as you'll go ahead and probably talk about here in an upcoming MCU review with him. So it's not like Marvel entirely shied away from Oscar Isaac. But yes, Apocalypse was.
Atrocious, and I don't use that word lightly. It was pretty bad. Like, I think I would rather watch the Miles Teller Fantastic Four movie again than watch this one.
Is it worse than Dark Phoenix, though?
I never saw Dark Phoenix. I don't have anything to compare it to in that aspect, but
Watch Dark
yeah.
Phoenix. Yeah, sit through that. Yeah, there's 2 hours of your life that's gone. So I would
Yeah.
probably, if you sat me down in a chair. I'm doing the Matrix on my famous Matrix commercials. As far as if you sat me down and tied me up and forced me to watch one of those movies, I'd probably say Apocalypse. I would probably say Apocalypse of the two between that and Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just
Yeah,
stick
that's
with that.
okay. All right. Well, I mean, I still have to when we get to Dark Phoenix, I have to actually sit down and watch it.
Absolutely, indeed. Craig said Netflix went to sports also as well. That obviously their live events with WWE and also as well for their sporting events, they're getting more into sports. Is helping their retain their base. So that's a good point that you made, Craig. But if you're not interested in sports, you're not interested in the WWE, it is getting harder and harder to stick with Netflix. Absolutely, indeed. But if you have thoughts out there on X-Men Apocalypse, how bad is it? It's not great. It's not good. I think Josh is right as far as atrocious is concerned, but he has to see Dark Phoenix, I think.
Yeah.
Although he'll hate me for it as well. Please let us know, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But my friend, it's been a great episode, a record-breaking weekend at the box office for the movies that at the top of the chain with the Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day, and it looking like if going forward, it's going to be a great run for both those films. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
No, I think we covered it all, man. But yeah, I mean, I'm anxious to see how far up the box office ladder Spider-Man goes here.
We'll find out, but $927 million in its opening weekend. That's a great start. Let's see what kind of legs it has. It opens this week in IMAX to be able to see that or the Odyssey in IMAX going forward. It'd be a great chance and great opportunity in the month of August to beat the heat with some great movies out there right now at the box office. So for Josh the Great Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.